So this is the third time trying to make this video, and perhaps I should, I should have made it this way before, waited until the next day to make this video, although I just didn't have the patience to do so. I do know that I need to shave. I don't shave every single day. But I'm making this video to address that I've been in Nofap for a few days. If it looks like there are dark circles under my eyes, do understand. My sleep schedule fluctuates crazily. That's the only thing about me that mostly fluctuates. But on Nofap, I began to notice that I'm detoxing a lot of what feels like evil. I'm detoxing a lot of desires and stuff like that, but I'm also detoxing a lot of negative type energies and negative type thinking that would be better off, suited not being part of the my consciousness. There was this furry channel, a while back, and I'm going to get to the Rule 34 aspects in a minute. Where this character, it was on a certain area of YouTube that I'm not going to direct anybody to because I don't want anybody to watch the videos, and I'm not going to do that. Where, there's this thing strutting around, and because I was in the lustful type of energy, it was hard to resist watching it for a while, and I've been not fapping at all, and I've been doing my best to stay away from any kind of content that's like that. And I'm just noticing, oftentimes in metaphysics, they tell you that you're supposed to try to see God in as many things as possible. You're supposed to see God in everything. You're supposed to judge, but you're not supposed to judge from a place of anger, and you're not supposed to come from a place of moral authority. You're supposed to judge from a place of love and wanting to uplift people, give people a better understanding of how to live, and it becomes awfully difficult to see God in such people. These live and let live people, but not these live and let live people like, I guess in a sense it is, but it's not like this live and let live energy. It seems on the surface to be a very loving thing to say, and indeed, in an ideal world it would be, but there's so much devastating effects that can happen by people just, being, doing whatever they want to do. It makes me wonder just how is it that a spiritual person or a metaphysical minded person is supposed to view the idea of free will or the idea of live and let live, because often I see these furries, and I used to be awfully deep in this Rule 34 stuff, and I used to, any kind of movie you can think of, and it was not limited to furries, but that was just a big part. It was all just a big mix of anything you can think of, and I was just fapping to everything, because at a young age, I had a bad habit of fapping, and then I got into a house where it turned out I didn't do much, and then I discovered the internet, and then it just went crazy, you know. How are you supposed to rationalize, because I know everything's karma, and I know everybody has to learn at their own pace, but how do you navigate that? How do you tell people reality, but still let them have free will, right? It seems contradictory, right? You're trying to explain them the reality that their free will is hurting them, but at the same time, you're supposed to allow them to have free will, and it's kind of a difficult thing to do. But it becomes awfully hard, because those people who make that type of content, they get essentially they get in a sense, that's kind of how they get paid. They make that type of material, and they don't see anything wrong with it. And I wanted this conversation to blossom into a certain discussion. But I'm not really sure what it was. I think I just said it. On Nofap, you detox all this really vulgar desires and stuff, all these gross Rule 34s, and where they're enforcing fellatio on these characters and stuff, and it's not a thing of God at all. It's a thing of destruction. And here's the point I was trying to make. I just remembered it. If I had been focusing on metaphysics that whole time, and I've been focusing on mathematics, and I've been focusing on all the things that I should have been focusing on, I would be an amazing person by now. I probably would not be overweight. I would probably have had more time to develop my character, and I might be more of a saint than I am now. I might actually understand the Bible more than I do now, because I would have had time to focus on it, and prove that that word for create in 1 Samuel 2:29, the word there for fatten is the same word there for create. And we can go into that another day, but essentially God emanated the heavens and the earth. And so in a sense, all things are manifestations of God, and in a loose sense are God. And eventually we evolve back to the source. And I would have had time to learn about things like that. I would have had time to learn about mathematics, time to learn about science, and I might be a world of a different person if I would have focused on that. And instead of wasting all my time, and you have to forgive these people who make this type of content, and it brings you down, because karma is not yours. Karma is God's. But at the same time, this person is responsible for keeping so many people, and all these people who make this content are so responsible for keeping people from becoming amazing people. People that, even if you don't believe there's a God, that could certainly bring more of it into the world. And you got to learn how to do that. You got to learn how to forgive, and you got to learn how to also recognize evil, and also recognize the horrible karma that must be, for someone like that. this is another thing, that one of those channels, I think Marshall Brockway is his name. He has very um, good insights on these things, but he's too dogmatic and he's too binary with his way of thinking. And I don't say binary in a LGBTQ sense of the term either. The fact that you would even think such a thing in and of itself is a binary way of thinking. Um, Oddly enough, you have to allow your peace to flow through you. You have to let God's glory and God's peace flow through you. You got to recognize evil, but you can't hate people, because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all gonna. Everyone has to go back to the source eventually. Everyone. So this idea that women are evil, and you need to hate it. You need to hate women and all this nonsense. Hate can never do it. Hate is passion. And it will always lead you back to more worldly things. If you don't believe me, try it. Go hating a bunch of things. You're going to become attached to the things that you hate because you're attached to hating them, essentially. That's what I had to say. On Nofap, my perspective's opening up. Nofap does not make everyone insane people. It does make some people into saints. But you see, you have to take this energy and you have to clean it. And you have to become clean. Otherwise, all these negative traits, these traits of hatred, are just going to build up and build up and build up. On Nofap, it's just going to build up and up and up. Whatever you have in you, it's going to build up and up and up. Right? So, if we want to have a godly character, we have to meditate. We have to create it. We have to allow evil to come out of us, but not express it, because it has to be burnt up. And that's what I had to say for today.